Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Singapore Sevens. This one, the Trans-Tasman rivalry, New Zealand versus Australia. Now, we almost got to see New Zealand versus Australia as a semi-final for the women's side of the draw, but we've just seen the Aussies get themselves the win over the USA, so it does confirm the chance of once again a New Zealand versus Australia final. But unfortunately for these two sides, only one can go through to the next stage after France was able to beat both of these teams. It means now that whoever wins this game will be advancing through to the semi-finals, and they will have to face the winner of Fiji versus South Africa. Whoever does make it through that little bit higher, I mean, it doesn't get much easier when you get through to the semi-finals, but looking through at who is going to be in the starting lineup for these two sides. First of all, for New Zealand, it is Rob Rush, Kitione Vai, Tony Ngashu, Sophie Natoa Tipo, Regan Weir, Brady Rush, and Akulia Rokalesoa, the last man. In the starting side for the Aussies, it is the experienced head of Henry Hutchinson as the captain, and also in that starting lineup, Aiden Akanayaki, Harry Wilson, who had a crucial turnover in the last game for the Australians, Wallace Charlie, Josh Turner, James McGregor, and Dietrich Roach, the last man in the side, who looks like the best team in the URC at the moment, says Kahu. I know you want to say, or you want me to say Glasgow because they're sitting top of the table and they are your side. But currently, if we're talking about the Sevens, I have to say out of these two teams, it's been a bit up and down from their group stage form. We've seen Australia have a solid performance in just their last game. In fact, their opening contest up against the Argentines. Whereas for New Zealand, they were able to also get themselves the win over Argentina. It was nowhere near convincing. It was a last-minute thriller that we saw them get the job done. This game, it could easily go either way, as it often does when these two sides play off. We will have a spicy game, says Jasmine, or will we? I think absolutely. When these two sides face off, there's always something that happens out there, whether it's a yellow card or a controversial moment. I feel like there's always a bit of something for New Zealand versus Australia. The Rush brothers, yeah, both of them out there on the field. In the starting lineup for this side, Rob Rush, very noticeable with that big mullet that he is rocking for this competition, but it's kicked off from the Australians as they will be going from right to left, getting underway in what is the equivalent of a knockout final between these two sides. A good bit of pace showing up the middle of the field from Vi, as he has two Australians chasing after him. Bumps off Wallace Charlie. He's going to keep on going. Kitione Vai just dragged down 3 metres short of the try line. I'm not sure how legal that turnover was from Australia, but they have managed to get that ball back. And now they are in possession just the 3 metres out from their own try line. Hi all, how's it going? Says Big Rick, welcome in. You're doing very well. Currently a pretty intense group, you'd have to say, for these sides. Now, France versus Argentina is happening around the corner. France have already confirmed themselves through to the next stage, as only one of these two teams will be able to advance. But it was a great breaking run from Kitione Vai, and then in the breakdown, a brilliant steal from the Australians. Let's go, NZ says Dame set match. And also we'll get the high all from Big Rig in there too. And New Zealand, you almost had it. Yeah, I think the only thing that was slowing him down there, Kitione Vai, was the fact that he was forever looking over his shoulder, waiting for that tackle to be made by the Australians. Now, 5 metre scrum here for Australia. That is 5 metres out from their own line. Speaking of France, Six Nations kicks off next week. You looking forward to it? Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see it on the Friday morning New Zealand time. Oh, referee's going to go to the far side of the scrum and have another look. And hype up France versus the Irish, says Big Rig. Wait, so you're saying you're hyped up for it, or you want me to hype it up for you? Surely there's been enough hype throughout the week with everything going on with Irish rugby at the moment. This ball's going to go in now for McGregor. Hasn't had a huge amount of starting minutes so far for the Australians. Morning, mate, says Flesh, and welcome in. Now going back across the right-hand side. That was a very flat pass there. And it's going to be stolen in the breakdown from New Zealand. 10 metres out from the Australian line. And Akulia Rokalesoa has taken the quick tap. Josh Turner, one-on-one, can't defend and stop Akulia Rokalesoa. So the Kiwis will take the lead. The early stages of this match. Oh, we'll go like that. And we will go like that. We'll give them 5 points for now. Well, this kick should be a relatively straightforward one. Evening, Hamish, and everyone says Tuds Race. Welcome in. You are doing well, and hope you're excited for not just that match a little bit later on between Fiji and South Africa in the Sevens, but also the URC also taking place. If both teams play their best, it will be an epic game. Says Big Rig, and try, and that kick has gone over from Akulia Rokalesoa. And making the score now 7-0 for the Kiwis. We'll go like this, and we'll go like that as well. There we go. Now, just saying here that New Zealand and Australia, they've actually said they both got beaten badly by France, although in the end, New Zealand only losing to France by 7, Australia losing to the French by about 25. So I think these two sides, even though this is a playoff, they are in different positions. But I think that was the Aussie commentator saying that. So, of course, he will be going for his side in this contest. They're going off to the left-hand side, and the Australians are in position. Josh Turner goes across to Dietrich Roach, tries to bounce pass into the hands of Wallace Charlie, who's taken it nicely. Big collision between him and Rob Rush. About 25 metres out from the line, Australia still in the position. Thought about the short ball there from McGregor, but looked like he overran it just a little bit there. Harry Wilson was waiting for that support. First receiver pass. Josh Turner across to Dietrich Roach again, getting it out to Henry Hutchinson, the veteran. He had a little slip, and he's had the ball ripped straight off him by Kitty Onevai, who manages to run down the wing, bump off Josh Turner twice in a row. Henry Hutchinson, for a man with so much experience, you do not expect those simple errors from a player like him. Now Tony Nashu sells the dummy, goes out to Brady Rush. The same could be said about him for the fact that he knocked that ball on. As it stops the New Zealand attack. 3 minutes remaining in the first half of this contest. And Australia will have that scrum 25 metres out from their own line. Live standings at the moment, the way that it sits, New Zealand would be in first place, but that can of course change drastically with the fact that France, they are still to play their match up against Argentina, who unfortunately for the Argentines have no way of making it through. Yeah, throw the ball away, says Jasmine there. But now, putting it back in to the scrum, it is McGregor. And 7 stands for New Zealand being Australia's 7th state. Says Cats now, well, more than likely we're going to want to once again get that Australia versus New Zealand final. Seems to happen every single time lately. All nice little hand on, but then another drop ball from the Australians. This time it's Harry Wilson who's put it down. See the frustration as well. Bit of a stoppage in time. I think there was Brady Rush who's still down on that far side. It looked like in that tackle before, just kind of hurt his ankle. Oh no, in fact, no, there's actually the replay. Now he got kicked in the face as well, which won't help. Now, 2 minutes still remaining in this first half. New Zealand, they have got themselves the 1 try with Akulia Rokalesoa. Outside of that, though, no other points have been scored. Got it there as well. New Zealand are on a 9-game winning streak up against Australia. So they'll be expecting to go on to win this contest as well. But the Aussies can definitely get one back if New Zealand wins. What is their path to the final? So it depends on what happens between France and Argentina. If France beat Argentina, France will play the loser of Fiji versus South Africa, and New Zealand will play the winner, and then it's vice versa. So either way, New Zealand, it's another breaking try down the wing. This time it's going to be Safai Natoa Tipo who manages to score it, but pretty much either way they're playing South Africa or Fiji. So it's not easy when you get through to that semi-final. You are taking on the best sides, and debatably the 2 teams with the best chance of winning the title for this season. So yeah, it's either way, it's not going to be too fun. How do you know I'm a Glasgow fan? Because you mention them every single stream. So if you weren't a Glasgow fan, it would be surprising. But that one's going to be away to the right-hand side. Lays a Kiwi flag in the stands, says studs raised there. Now 12-0. The moment the way that it sits for New Zealand up over the Australians. We have seen bigger comebacks in this tournament already. So you can't really trust a 12-0 lead. And now nicely taken by Aiden Kanayaki. Looking for the steal and the breakdown. Tony Nashu, he's managed to wrestle it away. Going off to the right-hand side. Now thought about the little short put pass to Akulia Rokalesoa again, showing off the quick stepping. Only 20 seconds remaining now. Something that New Zealand have been critiqued for is when they decide to go for a last-minute attack in a first half and end up conceding. Now, they've done it a few times. One of the games that come to mind is their match up against France in last season. That is a good tackle made on Rob Rush. The Kiwis, it has now reached the halftime siren. They will continue to attack though. Akulia Rokalisoa going on the near side to, I believe it was one of the two try scorers, and Safai Natoa Tipo stealing that ball. Henry Hutchinson gets it back for Australia, but then New Zealand win the penalty directly after. Tony Nashu taking the quick tap. He's got two men on the short side. Akulia Rokalisoa trying to step it around was Wallace Charlie. Now back to the left again. What about the wide cutout pass there from Rush, but instead it will be short, and then they go to Rob Rush on the outside, who does score the try for New Zealand, so they get themselves another. They now lead 17-0 heading into halftime. That is a much more comfortable scoreline for the Kiwis. And I'd say one more try and they probably secure this game. Six Nations will, in my opinion, feel like two different comps. Ireland, France, England, then Scotland, Wales, Italy. Says DJ, and what's up everyone? Says Xander, who do you support in the URC? I actually don't have a URC team. Ball game, says Big Rig. Well, okay, so you're saying it's done and dusted for the Kiwis with the 3 tries. And if this kick goes over, it will help them drastically. Wallabies should have stayed in bed today, says Big Rig. Oh, looks like a bit of an injury and back play too. But to be fair to them, they beat the Pumas, so that's a decent win. No. And that kick has missed away to the side, so it will make the score at halftime 17 points to 0. Who do you think will win the URC, says Kahu? I think that there's probably about 4 teams at the moment with a very good chance, so sleep on them, says Big Rig, and Scotland don't agree. They think they can win, says Big Rig. Currently New Zealand, they are ranked 3rd in the overall standings, so making it through to the semi-finals would give them a nice little boost. Playing a much better now, cooking kangaroos for dinner. There's Dame Set Match. Yeah, that classic New Zealand-Australia, like I said, we're probably going to see it for the final on the women's side of the draw. USA were just about there to be able to make it a semi-final rather than the final. Wallabies have bad defence today or conceding too many penalties. The penalty count has hurt them throughout their matches. But I also think they're just leaving a lot of gaps defensively. We've got to add, at the moment, it's some wood singing. Interesting. Italy are just there to be beaten. Wales are just a punching bag, says Big Rig. And I would love to see Scotland win, says DJ. To be fair, everyone beat the Pumas yesterday and today, says Katzenel. Although, maybe France could be an option. Although, did they play yesterday? Maybe in the warm-ups. They've still got another day tomorrow. That's the fun thing about the Sevens. And if you go badly tomorrow as well, still got next week. We've seen sides go from last to first very easily. Just look at someone like a Spain. They were considered as not really contenders, and then they just kept on going and eventually became must-see. Why isn't England in? Says Splash TV. They are a part of GB. And Great Britain, they got beaten by South Africa and beaten by Fiji, so they miss out. But it's all down to the fact that Great Britain is what is the representative of the Olympics. So because of that, they keep them all together. But the second half back underway. Going to be a good attack and run from Harry Wilson, 40 metres out from his own try line. Josh Turner with the pass just about behind the hands of McGregor. Now Wallace Charlie. Tackled by Akulia Rokalisoa. Again, look for that steal in the breakdown. Looks like New Zealand may have hurt themselves here with one of their players staying down for a little bit longer. France destroyed us in Dubai last time, says Katzenel. I think Scotland will beat one of 3, England, Ireland, France, but I don't see them winning the tournament, says Big Rig. Now trying to get that steal in the breakdown again. New Zealand told to get out of it by the referee. Back across to Henry Hutchinson. Tony Nashu in the breakdown again. And tell you what, Hutchinson's had a frustrating old game. I don't think he's actually done anything right in this game, which sounds critical and pretty harsh, but he's had about 3 times where New Zealand have stolen the ball while he's made the break for the Aussies. And then also he had that mistake where the ball was stripped off him. Then now Rob Rush goes short side, sees the chance to score and well and truly takes it. It's another one for New Zealand. And they don't look like they're done yet in this contest. How did women's GB go against Canada? Says Katzenel. So Canada won 52-0. So not ideal. So Great Britain throughout their games, the first match they lost 64-0. Their second match they lost 32-5. And their third match they lost 52-0. So they've conceded 150 or so points from their 3 games, which is not ideal. It doesn't put them in the semi-finals, unfortunately. Went to school in Dumfriesshire and climbed all over Scotland. Truly adore the Scots in Scotland, says DJ. When is the last Sevens? So there are regular league, like kind of fixtures, and then there are the championship fixtures. But regular leagues, I believe, is going to be in New York. That's mid-March. I'm back across to the right here. New Zealand were able to add the additional 2 points as well, making the score at 24-0 in favour of New Zealand, with just the 4 minutes now remaining on the clock as well. No, I mean for today, says Mahadeen. So the last game for today is going to be between South Africa and Fiji. And that one is taking place at 1:46 p.m. South African time. Although for us New Zealanders, that's a nice inside ball from the Australians and Aiden Akanagaki. He was actually the player in the background when New Zealand scored their last try of the first half, who looked like he was in a little bit of discomfort, and he still doesn't look like he's 100%, but it is a try back in this game for the Australians. I like that. And I like that as well. Then it's Rugby Bulls. Yeah, so then the Bulls are playing the Lions, and then the Sharks are playing the Stormers. And 64-0 and Sevens. Ouch, how do you even do that? Yeah, you keep conceding. And that is exactly what they did in that game up against New Zealand. I think New Zealand had about 10 tries or something like that. We have got there, when does summer end, says Katzenell. No idea whatsoever, to be honest. And you prefer a late breakfast or rather an early dinner if you had to choose? I don't really get to have food at normal hours. So like I had dinner tonight at 11 p.m. And then I'll end up having breakfast at about 5 p.m. tomorrow. So I'm probably not the best one to ask. Now ready to kick this one off for the Australians again. It's nicely taken by Regan Ware. Wales, Italy, and the Leprechauns aren't in the Sevens, says Splash TV. Italy are. They actually were playing in the 3rd division. Ireland, they gave up their 7 circuit, unfortunately. But yeah, Italy are still floating around and they can make the championship. Going off now to the side. It'll be nicely taken by Scott Gregory. 3 minutes remaining on the clock here. And that one's bouncing for New Zealand. That looked like it was almost a knock-on, but I think it may have just missed the fingertip of Regan Ware. 11 p.m. dinner, Kiwis are crazy. No, most Kiwis do it at a normal time, but most Kiwis don't stay up for all-nighters on the weekends covering games of rugby. So that's the difference. And there in Scotland have a world-class 15. Don't have any depth in the forward, says Fleshen. How do the Blitzbox play if they win? Depends on who wins France versus Argentina. Nothing confirmed yet, but if New Zealand win this game, which at the moment it looks like they're going to, it means that it will be either Fiji or South Africa that they face, and France will play the other team. But until we know the other results, it's all hearsay. 3 out of 7 days I eat once a day, says Sock. And also, as a Brit, I wouldn't even be mad, just a breast, says Big Rig. Now going short side here for the Australians. So we're trying to mount a bit of a comeback here with just the 2 minutes remaining on the clock. That was almost stolen for the Kiwis, but again, just leaving the footing. Which does mean, flat attack and run. That was a dangerous option, but it's worked out for Australia. I believe that was Jaden Blake. Managed to get in, and that is going to make the score now sitting 24-10. So they start to mount that little bit of a comeback. That last try that New Zealand got might have actually been enough to secure them this win. This one could still be split by less than 7. How did Aussie score that try? They took the quick tap, and then Blake just threw himself at the line and managed to get a good grounding. Kick has missed away to the side. The commentator there for the Aussies, he knows exactly how crucial that kick would have been, as it could have given Australia a chance of going on for the win rather than the draw. The ball bounces out the side, now getting dragged back. That was blatant from Josh Turner, but the veteran knows a few tricks up his sleeve. He's going to go back onto the side Australia once more inside of the 22. Loads of Argentinians have Italian blood, says DJ. I can confirm I don't know anyone else in New Zealand who watches rugby at ridiculous times. Looking forward to the Lions tonight, says Thuds Race. Yeah, quite a few people seem to like sleep on the weekends. And during the week, to be fair. There's a few games midweek every once in a while, but yeah, the sleep schedule's pretty broken. But you're right here with us, Thuds Race, all throughout them. On those late night live streams, there's going to be a big driving tackle, maybe a little bit tippy for New Zealand. The ball's going to be left alone. That's offside from Australia. There's been a lot let go in this game, but I think they want it to be a close finish, as it's going to be another try for Australia. New Zealand tackled from behind them. Okay, they're going to show the replay. So the man who was on the ground, okay, they're trying to say it could have been general play, but I think both commentators are saying it was clearly blatant offside. It was let go, and it sounds like the TMO may actually check this. I feel like Sharks will be back-to-back, says Splash TV. They've got a decent chance. Like, honestly, they aren't as big of an underdog as they seem heading into that match, right? This is all being checked by the TMO. Okay, Australia number 10 is offside, so it is going to be no try and penalty to New Zealand. That is the right decision. They are saying that they played it out just in case. It feels like a luxury at times, Big Rig, says DJ. I don't see Wales win any game in the Six Nations, says Mohadeen, but if they somehow do, they may stop someone from winning that was maybe supposed to. And that's a slightly intriguing part. I know a lot of people are saying Wales are going to lose all their games already, but you just wonder whether or not there's just half a little sneaky win. Are you manually updating the score? I am, yes. They no longer do online scoreboard for the Sevens, mainly because World Rugby tried to kill it off. What's the time difference between the USA and New Zealand? As I kid, I used to stay up to like 1, 4 a.m. to watch live American sports, says Big Rig. Depends on what part of America you're looking at. Most areas, I think, are about the 18 hours or so, 16 hours. Now, New Zealand, they are looking to go for one last attack. Now, this is risky. They're leading by 14 points. I think they're trying to make a bit of a statement here, waiting for the bounce of the ball, and it's going to work out and doesn't look like it's going to bring an injury for New Zealand, which is the best part about it. But Michael Manson runs down the wing, scores another one. New Zealand will now win this game by that bigger margin. Live rugby is far more special than a replay or recorded game. And Boomfast says Dame set match. So yeah, New Zealand booked themselves a spot through to the next stage. Sometimes the auto update score spoils it. I prefer you manually updating it. It's all right as long as I remember to update it. Sometimes I forget that I am in charge of doing it. For the Sevens, it's not too bad because I get in a rhythm, but it's the other games that you sometimes forget. Live spot in general is more exciting, says Big Rig. Well, the hardest thing nowadays is avoiding spoilers. As you guys have seen firsthand from whether it's a URC competition and people are talking about other games, or literally only last week or whenever it was, how I was trying to avoid a black cap score and then it just came out straight away. In the chat, like anything that you watch on delay, more than likely you've heard something through the grapevine, whether it's on the radio in the car or just something's happened that you're like, oh, I may know what happens now. They're just showing that group. New Zealand, they have played the 3 games, so they will move up into first place on 7 points. Don't the commentators spoil other games? The UK ones do. Sometimes. It depends on the circumstances of whether or not those other games actually impact anything. They've always got a live table, though, that normally gives it away. If you're watching one game live and you can see where the other side is actually sitting because of it. But nonetheless, we have got about 30 minutes before we are back for the next game. That is going to be Fiji versus South Africa. The game that's taking place now is Argentina versus France. So that will determine if the French do finish first. So we will give you the update on that in 30 minutes' time. Straight after that Fiji versus South Africa game, we're on to the URC 2 double headers taking place between the Lions and the Bulls and the Sharks and the Stormers as well. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. See you all in about that 30 minutes time for the next one.